Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick Theriot, and today I have an exciting new video for you guys. Today I have two really awesome ecom founders. They've been kind of following me for a while now. They took my advice, or some of the advice I put on my YouTube channel, and between their knowledge, some of the stuff I've sent over to them, they've been able to scale their ecom brand from literally like zero to doing well past multiple six figures per month. This is a really awesome kind of interview slash podcast I did with Cole and Chad, founders of Solo Spans. So definitely stick tuned and sit back, relax, and enjoy this, because this is a really awesome interview, and I think a lot of people can learn a few things from this podcast. There's lots of little golden nuggets drip throughout it. So let's hop into it, guys. Well, let's start off. We got Cole here, Cole and Chad. Let's start off by just introducing yourselves. What do y'all have going on?
So we basically just in ecom in general. We actually have multiple brands. We'll mostly talk about Solus because that's where we've had the most success. But yeah, I mean, we're childhood friends, went to college together. I ended up getting into ecom, just got him out of his job, and he joined the team. And we have like completely different skill sets and completely different like interests. So it kind of works out. I do more of like the marketing and that brand growth side. He does more of like the back end with our warehouse and the inventory ordering and all that.
You know, I really like that you said that because that's definitely something I want to dive into a little bit later about the partners. As I find so many people, I've even been in the place where I've kind of hired the wrong partner, and it's truly a marriage. Like you got to complement each other for it to work well. So that's really cool. Tell us a little bit about your main brand, Solus. Where has that taken you guys?
So I started Solus last April, and Chad was kind of involved with it a little bit, but it was kind of just to get his toes wet in ecom.
Very low scale. I was still working a full-time job at Aldi at the time.
And then pretty much it was just a drop shipping store.
Mm-hmm.
And we were doing pretty decent. And then I was basically just offering, I was like, hey, it's probably pretty tough trying to work on this stuff after work every day. We actually started a different drop shipping store at the time too that was doing well. So we knew we had like two stores bringing in money. So I was basically just like, if you want to quit your job, I'm sure we could make it work. He quit around like June 3rd.
So wait, so that was like what? Probably like a month into it, 2-3 months into it.
Yeah.
So we were clearing enough money every month that like my Aldi salary that I had, we were making more than it that we could have pulled out. So I was like, all right, financially it makes sense. I have a couple months of salary saved up just in case anything happens. I was like, we'll bet on ourselves and we'll go for it. So I wanted to put in my 2 weeks on my birthday, which was May 24th. So I missed it by like a week and a half, but still set the goal. So we got it done. And then I quit June 3rd, which was nice. And then kind of been full head of steam since then.
I'm curious what, so Cole basically calls you up. Hey, I got this ecom thing going on. You should check it out. What were you doing before that?
So before it, so we both graduated from Penn State. We both had corporate innovation entrepreneurship majors, and he went the route of, finding something for himself. Working on ecom was like one of the things he found, obviously. But for me, I went more the corporate route. I found a job at Aldi. It was the grocery store chain. So I was a district manager for them. Ran 3 of their stores. So very operations mindset, running with a team, learning how to manage and make people operate to the best of their skills. So kind of the complete opposite of what, Cole was doing with the ads and everything like that. And he hates doing like that type of stuff. It just wastes time for him. So it kind of worked out in both of our best interests, like, cause that's the stuff that I enjoy. And he enjoys being creative and, figuring out what customers want and picking people's brands apart.
I went like the typical drop shipping, like starter route. And like, I was bouncing around on some stores. So he had like known that I had been doing this, but it wasn't really until like the Solus store that I guess he saw like how much potential was actually there.
Yeah.
So whenever he kind of became like a small partner on that and saw the financials, he was like, holy shit.
Yeah, and that was at this point, like you had no inventory or anything like that. You were just purely drop shipping at that side.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially I was going to work every day. I would probably work 10 to 12 hours each day, come home at like dinner time, work from like 6 to 10 on like customer service, stuff like that. That was my main duty, was customer service and dealing with that type of back end stuff. It wasn't fun, obviously, but to me,
Customer service is horrible.
Yeah, not great, but thankfully we don't have to do that anymore. We have 2 VAs for it. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a grind, and happy we did it.
Yeah, and I'm sure like you're not doing customer service anymore either.
No, we have 2 VAs that handle that for us now.
Yeah, that's something we can dive into as well. Like I find that there's so many ecom brands that put off outsourcing customer service for so long. Like I met a guy that was doing 300-400K a month with his ecom store, drop shipping, and he was still doing all of his customer service. Like he was working 10 hours a day. I'm like, dude, you're profiting 6 figures a month and you're still doing customer services. There's better use for your time, essentially. So what was that for you guys?
It was pretty much as soon as I came on full time. I feel like right after that, we hired a VA. She ended up being pretty good. Her English was great, but we think that she got a second job while she was working with us.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, I hired a second VA. So they were both working together. And we ended up firing the first one just because she was not, doing what she needed to do. She wasn't keeping up with the volume of customers that we had.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up hiring the other one on full time because she was just part time before. But that was, I think, July. We started.
Yeah, it was probably around July. And we got 2 so quick because all summer we still ran 2 brands. So we had one for each of them.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Then we sold off part of our other brand, which is kind of a different story. I would say it's probably not worth going into too much. But then we just put both VAs on the main brand.
Nice. So yeah, this is interesting. So Cole, I find you kind of more of like the entrepreneurial route and stuff like that. You seem a little bit more like you've kind of been in the entrepreneur space a little bit longer than Chad. Chad, you definitely seem like you got the logistics side, everything like fine tune, and I can definitely tell a difference in between the way you talk about logistics and Cole. So I know you know your shit.
Yeah, that's kind of what we do. Is like he knows everything there is to know about ads and everything like that, creatives, and I know everything there is about the logistics, but we never really cross paths and tell each other too much about it because it's just a waste of time.
That's very beautiful right there because yeah, like I tell people like all the time, like when you're finding a partner, you got to find a partner that complements each other. Where if y'all both doing the same thing every day, then it's just like y'all overworking on top of each other. People don't have the proper things handled and stuff like that. So I'm actually going to direct this question to Cole. I know like when you were basically like, hey, at a point where like, hey, I need a partner, I need some help. Like, how did that come to you? Was it more of like, I need some help, or do I need a partner? Or was it just like, hey, buddy, why don't you come help me out for this thing I got going on here?
I mean, when we were in like 8th or 9th grade, we had ran a lawn mowing business in our neighborhood. So like we had partnered before, and that was another thing about him, was that I knew like we could scream at each other and yell and get in fights, but get over it because like it's gonna happen. We've been through it before. But I wouldn't even necessarily say I was looking for a partner. He was just like wanting to get involved, and then kind of the more he like helped out with the store, it kind of just made sense.
The way like he helped out, so like was he just like over your shoulder, like sending you ideas over what to do?
So he originally was doing the customer service and making sure all the orders were fulfilled and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then straight from the get-go, he was interested in like hiring the VAs, training the VAs, getting our inventory all settled. And I knew that I did not want to deal with any of that. So it just kind of made sense.
Gotcha. Okay. And this is still like he was kind of balancing that full-time job and like doing this all like after hours and stuff, essentially. Cool. And where was that initial like, hey, let me help you out for an hour today, or like, let me help you out for 15 minutes, or is that just like pretty much your whole life in that sense right there?
Since like we started.
Yeah.
So it was every day. Every single day I came home from work, I was working on Solus or our other brand. And then even on weekends too. I would say we've probably been grinding for the better like portion of the entire year. It's just kind of how we work. We work nonstop, but then we also do like to have fun in the off time.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So you were pretty much already helping out that other brand, then Solus started, and that's where, you kind of went further into it. Okay, cool. I was looking for that point of where like, hey, I've been working on Solus. I need some help. Hey, you want to come help me? And then you start like jumping into like his systems and stuff like that. But you're already doing that with that other brand, correct?
Yeah. We were actually like at this point, we didn't realize the power of like putting all of your focus onto one brand.
Yeah.
So we were, and especially at the skill levels we were at. So we had those two stores, and I still had him like trying to start like other stores and stuff when we see products coming up. So I kind of gave him that full like he built some stores up and like found products, and he did all that and grinded through that. But eventually we just realized that it wasn't worth trying to spread ourselves thin like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Now, I'm curious. Do you don't have to if you don't want to, but do you want to talk a little bit about what you sell on Solus specifically?
Yeah. So we sell Apple Watch bands. The only reason we're like kind of iffy on it is because we have some people trying to knock us off, and we just don't want, like, they literally take our exact like videos and content and everything.
Shopify is pretty good with the cease and desist though, but
yeah, we just don't want like other people using our content and then like just getting a bad image in general, like people thinking that was us. But yeah, we sell Apple Watch bands, which everyone that I talked to like was pretty much saying like, that's a really competitive industry. Like I don't really see you being able to scale too high there. But I don't know. We kind of just, I think we had one of those kind of lucky stories where I didn't honestly know exactly what I was doing with marketing. So I just tried everything I could, and eventually was just doing stuff that other people weren't trying. And I think I kind of just found some little areas that ended up working for us.
That's pretty cool. Now, comparing, and also too, I have to give y'all credit. Like, I love y'all ads. Like y'all, whoever's on the creative side, whoever's engineering them and putting them together, great work on that. So give you props there, Cole. Now, your other store you had started before Solus, was it in the same industry, or was it doing also Apple Watch bands, or?
It was women's headbands. And we were donating money to trees.org for every headband we sold. We were packaging them like buy two get one free.
Yeah,
we had like a 5 or 6% conversion rate on that store. It was nuts.
Wow, that's pretty cool. That's a weird one too, like the tree donation thing. Like, look, donations, amazing tool to increase conversion rate. The tree one though, the donation one you choose though is very important, and that's odd. A headband for a tree. I thought you were gonna do something like cancer awareness or something like that in that sense.
So whenever we started that store, I think I bought them because I thought they looked cool, and I was living with my girlfriend at the time, and I ordered them. They finally came like a month later, and I showed them to her, and she was like, "Oh, these are awesome! Like they're super good quality, and they literally cost us less than $1 per piece, and we were selling them for like what, $30 a piece."
Yeah, the designs on them kind of looked like something like a tree hugger,
like
hippie,
boho chic. Yeah, boho
That's
chic.
why we did
Okay.
the donation. It was like the design.
So then I reached out to trees.org, and they were fully on. So we became brand partners where we were on their site, they were on our site, and it went really, really well.
That's pretty cool. So two pretty much friends from, I'll say, what, middle school, all your life, go high school, college, all that together, anything like that. Um, Now, I'm curious though. So I know, Chad, you kind of went the kind of corporate route for a little bit. And then Cole, like, what'd you do before kind of getting into this like entrepreneurial route?
So straight out of college, I thought I was getting an investment real estate job. Um, they told me I had it, and it was going to be in like Northern Cali, like Silicon Valley, pretty much. So I just worked for my dad, who owns a landscaping company, all summer. And was basically just trying to pass time. And then they just kept blaming it on COVID, because we graduated 2020, like right when COVID hit. So I was just passing time. And then I went on vacation in September to see my sister in Cali, and then immediately straight to my dad's like birthday in the Outer Banks, North Carolina.
Mhm.
And I got pretty tuned up, you could call it. And I told my dad,
Sounds like a drug deal right there.
I had a few drinks, and I pretty much, I don't know what got into me, but I had known I wanted to do it, but I guess I don't know. Either way, this night I was like, Dad, when we get home, I'm not working for you anymore. Like, I'm gonna figure something out.
That's interesting. I like how you quit the job before even getting the vehicle first.
Yeah. So I pretty much went home, and I was living at home, and so I was just saving up all the money that I was getting from working from him. So I probably had like 10K saved up, and then day one just started watching every how to make money online video you could think of. Found drop shipping pretty quickly, found a couple channels, and within like a week I paid some dude $3,000 off YouTube to mentor me.
Wow.
So that was the point where I was working with Aldi, and we were talking on the phone, and I was like, so what are you up to? And he told me like he's been working on Ecom, and he's like, I'm actually going to pay this guy to mentor me. I was like, oh, how much is it? And I was guessing like a couple $100, and he said $3,000. I was like, do you have that much money? I was like, I barely had any money saved in my bank account. I was working Aldi, and I was like, where'd you get that kind of money? He's like, well, let's hope it works. And he just got and and as soon as he did that, that's when he started like telling me about Ecom, but it was very like off like basis, like maybe once a week, once every month we would catch up, and he would just and tell me about what he's been working on.
I'm curious if who is the guy? Granted, if it was good, then yeah, who is the guy? If it was bad, then let's just not mention him.
It was good. His name was Tan Shootery.
Okay. Never actually heard of him.
Yeah, it was like a one-on-one mentorship program. He was like building out his course and stuff at the time. I was like one of his first people I think he ever mentored. So it wasn't like the smoothest thing, but pretty much he would just get on a like 30 to an hour call with me every week on Zoom, and then he would answer like questions 1 or 2 times a day in Skype. And he would like look over my stores and stuff and products.
Nice. That's actually probably one of the best mentorships you could have right there. So, I still to this day still have a few people like that where I pay them on a monthly basis and just get them, hey, granted, like these are people making 8-9 figures in ecom. So as you scale, you try to find those next level, those people right there. But I think that's probably one of the most valuable relationships you can have, probably even more valuable than a course if you're somewhat of a smart person that can figure out stuff on yourself with YouTube and everything. So I would say it paid off well for you then.
Yeah, definitely.
Now at that time right there, you were doing mostly just kind of like drop shipping stores and stuff as well.
Yeah. So this was around the beginning of October was whenever I got the mentorship.
And what year is this again?
2020.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah, I kind of made probably 2 or 3 stores in like October, beginning of November. None of them worked. Had a successful store at the end of November. I was like, this is it. This is like going to be what all the gurus are talking about. And the product was patented. I could have just sold it until I got a cease and desist, but I was like, I don't want to mess around with it.
Yeah.
So tried another store, so was kind of getting a little bit like, is this really what I want to do or not? Holidays came around. I kind of took a week or two off. January, I came back with a store, and that was my first store that I ever got to $1,000 a day rev.
Mhm.
The product was junk, which is another reason why we don't really drop ship anymore.
How did that feel when you got your first like $1,000 a day online?
First day I ever. So I was living in PA back at the time where we're from. He was down like DC area. I was actually visiting him the day that I had my first $1,000 day. So that was like probably whenever he started taking it a little more seriously. And this was like end of January, so 2021 last year. And then the next store I started was Solus.
Yeah, that's exhilarating when you hit that first $1,000 day. Like I know, like when I hit my first 1K day, like I work only with client stores. But when I took a client to their first $1,000 day, and I was like, holy shit, that's insane! Like I was freaking out more than them. They're just like, just $1,000. It's like shit, I need to get richer. So but yeah, even for us, like when we take on a brand new store and we hit that first $500 $1,000 consistently, it's just like it's no better feeling ever than the online kind of those first few sales on a brand new store, brand new offer and everything like that. Even new creatives that you spend a bunch of time on, like those first few sales, it's an adrenaline rush. It's my drug of choice. So but that's awesome, man. And then that's when Solus started to begin, started pushing through. And I know you said you started drop shipping first, started growing it. What was some of the first maybe key lessons that you took from those first few stores that you've applied to Solus, or maybe just like one or two things that you took from those first few stores and applied to Solus when you first started?
Get good quality products.
Yeah, so with Solus, I ordered the products before I ever made the store. So I got an Apple Watch for Christmas. I knew I liked them. So that was honestly the main reason I tried the store, because everyone was saying it was too competitive and stuff. But either way, I don't know. Those first couple of stores, I was more focused on like the drop shipping, like choose a product. I wasn't making any of my ads or anything. I was just building stores. Solus was the first store that I ever actually like started making my own ads.
Nice. So you're basically saying where it was like before, it'll start up a store, take a random ad, throw a little bit of money at it, didn't work. Oh, it's the store, not the ad. So let me just destroy the whole thing, start new over again.
Essentially, yeah, that was like the strategy that a lot of those drop shipping people teach, and the strategy that I was following at the time.
And then now it's like, I probably could have had 10 successful stores if I just tested more creative.
Yeah. I also just didn't really have it. Going back to those stores, I definitely could have got a lot of them working, but I just didn't have the marketing skills at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's part of the process of learning more. And I think that's where like a lot of like, I get a lot of drop shippers that watch my YouTube channel, and it kind of conflicts with what they were taught. There's some of their beliefs and everything, because it's like, oh, well, what do you do when a product doesn't work? I'm like, what do you mean? I have no choice but to make this product work because the client's paying me specifically on a month. So I have 30 days to essentially test as many creatives as possible, add angles and things like that to get that product, off the market essentially. So, and start scaling. Whereas a drop shipping route, they've probably gone through 30 different stores with this single creative or one piece of creative for every store that every single drop shipper is using. And it's separating itself and starting to build that brand, which I feel like that's something you've kind of done with Solus in that sense right there, and separated it.
Yeah, for sure.
So start scaling up the store. You apply some of those kind of key principles right there, start building up your marketing principles and stuff. And I know you're a big creative person. Like, how are you shooting these creatives and stuff like that? Were you using UGC? Were you using a video editor? How are you getting some of the content in the early stages?
I took all of it on my phone. So for last summer, I was just running photo ads. That's what I could get to work. I was just taking pictures of the bands in certain ways. And then he kind of kept harping on me about like TikTok. So I was like, screw it. I'll like try to make some organic TikTok videos. So I was just like doing, I don't know, just kind of like funny stuff, like starting the video like in the wave and like getting it out of it for like the intro, and kind of just trying to make a cool intro and then sell our bands from there.
Mhm.
Some of my first videos on the organic thing did decent, got a couple thousand views. So I was like, let me try to run these on Facebook and see what happens. And then they were outperforming everything we had. So from there, I kind of just kept on with that style of video until we started getting UGC. And that's what's really been like the game changer for us.
Nice, nice. I like how you said like you basically just make a video where it's like a cool intro and then sell the band. Like that's literally your 2-part video formula. And I feel like if 90% of ecom owners could just master that right there, they'd be in a much better spot. Cool intro, got their attention. Here's why you need this product. So I really like that. Now, the UGC side right there, is that something y'all did in-house, or did y'all like use an agency or something like that?
So from the start, we just sent out emails to our customers and basically said like, hey, we'll send you, I don't remember how many we sent, but we sent them some free bands if they'd send us back a review video. Most of them were not good at all, but the ones that were good were like phenomenal.
And that was purely just emailing your existing customers?
Emailing our customers.
Yeah, we would send out an email to, I think like 200 is as many as I started with, 200 customers at a time. We'd probably get like, I don't know, 5 to 10 back from that. And then after we had a couple videos, depending on if the cool one and more or not, we'd send another email out to a group of customers. And like he said, I mean, a bunch of people were super pumped about it. They would send the video and be like, hey, I want this band and this band. And we would just go from there. And it cost us near nothing to do.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, because and especially too, you weren't really paying these customers either. You're just like, hey, shoot a video, or hey, we'll send you a free band in exchange for a video, essentially.
Yeah, within the last couple of months, we started using Billo, and that's still kind of like a little hit or miss, but we've gotten some really good ones from there.
You know, it's kind of funny. I took a look at your Facebook ads library before we got on this call, and one of the particular creators you're using, I used twice for 2 different accounts. One of our metal signs brands and a skincare product. I was like, damn, she's still in there.
Yeah, I feel like I know which one, but
yep. So, but yeah, no, Bill is solid though. Like it's a hit or miss. How have you been able to combat that with like changing up your briefs?
Whenever we first started doing it, the info that I could like give them was way different than now. I feel like now I don't even change it much. I don't know if Billo helped us out or what, because they started emailing me and saying they could help me pick better creators, but it just seems like the more videos I ordered, I'm getting better people applying to my videos now. So I don't know if maybe the creators like can see that we're like a multi-time like purchaser and they just think that we're more like reputable. I don't know, but it seems
Possibly.
like we've been getting better like people applying now.
Nice. Yeah, I've personally haven't used Billo in a little bit now. I've been big on the Incense side. Incense is pretty good. More expensive than Billo. Quite more. Like you got to pay $500 a month just to use the platform, and then from there you have to pay the creators anywhere from $50 to $100. But it's you get a lot more for your dollar essentially. As they have there's options where you can get them to take a few pictures, videos, things like that. So that works pretty well. So cool. So yeah, I love this. So you basically got to dive into the creative side. At what point, now I know this is probably where Chad starts to kind of step in essentially into the picture. You're doing everything with your Facebook ad side. Now, obviously there's 2 things that need to happen now. Are you doing pretty much where like it's the typical drop shipping route of, standard, I guess you could just say the most standard drop shipping route where you're not holding in any inventory at this time right now?
No, or right now.
Well, right now I know you guys are like in-house and everything.
Yeah.
But basically at some level you took inventory in-house, correct?
It was about last August
for the shipping agent.
whenever we sent inventory to a 3PL. The end of last August, I believe.
So before that, it's very brief, but we hired a shipping agent who had contacts in China, had his warehouse set up there. So he was providing better service for us from just our supplier itself from AliExpress. We only worked with him for like a month and a half. Didn't go as well as we would have hoped. The shipping times just weren't what we wanted. They were like, the products weren't good either. It just wasn't a great time. So we bought a huge inventory stack and brought it to a 3PL that he actually recommended us here in the US. It was in Indiana, and they were good for a while, but we sort of outgrew them.
Yeah, they did not expect us to scale the way we did.
Yeah, we have 350 SKUs. So as a warehouse, keeping track of that many SKUs, and we have, at the time we only had probably like 30,000 bands in stock at a time. Now we're over 100,000 at a time that we have in stock. So just keeping manage of all those, and he had, I think, like 5 or 6 employees that would do our orders, 3 per day, but to tell all of them each and every single like way to do it and stuff, like things just get mixed up. So our customers were receiving the wrong bands. They weren't receiving all the bands. They weren't counting our inventory right. So we were overselling bands.
Yeah,
so
we were selling like hundreds of bands that we didn't have in stock. That was like the main problem.
So that was like a nightmare on the customer service end, where like we're getting all these emails where it's like, where's my order of this? Where's my order of that? And they weren't even telling us. Like every once in a while, he would be like, yeah, we oversold some bands. Here's all the orders. And it would be like 100 orders down the sheet. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, you got to tell me this right away. So long story short, I ran the numbers, and we were going to keep working with them, just try to, get it solved. But I ran the numbers, and we ended up increasing our margins by 10% just by bringing it in-house. And we were moving down to Florida. We already had that, in our mindset. So I started looking at warehouses down here, found a good sized one. We thought it was too big to start. But we already filled it up basically with our brands. So that's good. But yeah, we saved a ton of money, gave Cole a little bit extra margin to play with on our ad spend so he could scale a little bit higher. And really our main problems with doing that is just keeping enough inventory in stock. So we've been ordering out the wazoo to do that.
Yeah, inventory management is so critical, especially when you have multiple SKUs. I think probably like the worst thing ever is like, I'm sure y'all faced this before. Like you'll have one band that sells way better than all the other bands, and then that one goes out of stock, and then the other ones just do not pull on Facebook like that one. So how do y'all manage that?
We just have to
order a ton of them. Like, so we have probably like 30 to 40 SKUs that I would say are like money getters that we order like double, triple, sometimes 4 times as much of those than we do any other band. And we run buy 2 get 1 still.
Yeah,
That's
we do buy 2 get 1 free. So that hurts the ads even more, because like if someone's normally going to get like a plain black or like some type of solid color, and then from there they'll get fun with the other ones. But whenever we don't have those like staple blacks and grays, then they just don't order at all. So it definitely hurts whenever we lose those main, or we're out of those main SKUs.
True. Yeah, that's a problem right there. I know that's, we work with a fairly good like amount of like clothing brands as well. And it's always a problem where it's like a small is out of stock, or they have all this inventory except or like all their inventory is one size for one product, and then everything else is sold out. So medium, large, extra large sold out. And it's like a product will not move because like no one wears a small in that particular size. So
yeah,
it becomes an issue. I'm curious what was going through your mind though when y'all brought like fulfillment in the USA, and y'all went from, hey, it's no longer a dropshipping store, and now we have a couple $1,000s in inventory at hand. Was there any like kind of maybe second thoughts or anything that was like, oh shit, like things are getting real now?
Not really, because from day one we knew that our goal with like, at least for a couple of years, any brand that we start, we're trying to sell.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew that to get the most value, we had to like do things the right way. So it was never even really, we definitely never second thought it.
Yeah, we weren't really trying to take a quick buck. Like a lot of drop shippers out there nowadays, they just want to make as much money as they possibly can in a couple months, wait till that store dies off, create another one and go from there. we were in the long-term game where it was like, all right, we're going to run this store as best as we can, create a great system behind it for, 2 years, and then hopefully sell it for a ton of money instead of like a get rich quick scheme.
Yeah, and we get a decent amount of repeat customers and like just word of mouth sales. And that wouldn't be possible if we were drop shipping.
Yeah, I do notice that a ton with stores. It's, like we don't even work with drop shipping stores anymore just because 9 times out of 10 their mindset is just, hey, I'm just trying to make some money. Then you'll have that one person here and there. It's like, look, I'm trying to validate this idea so that way I can move it to this big brand. I'm trying to validate it first. I think drop shipping is a great model to validate something, but then long term, you need to be in house. You need to be really focused on your product quality, your unboxing experience, all that fun stuff right there. So huge props on you guys for going the right route. Now, let's say something interesting there. Your goal is to get the company sold. I have two questions for you. First off, did you have any investors come in at any level to help out with inventory? Or is it purely just off?
Express, if you count that.
Yeah, American Express, and then we have some credit lines. But realistically, we're just not paying ourselves anywhere near what we could be. So we have like very nice numbers to look at when we see our profit statements, but it's not what we're actually putting in our pockets because we're just reinvesting it all.
Yeah, pretty much from day one, we've reinvested everything. Like we'll pay ourselves, like when we didn't put everything on our cards, we would pay ourselves like our living expenses that we needed. But other than that, like we could have made like $30,000 net profit the 1 month, and we would have paid ourselves out maybe like 5 or 6 of it at a time. And we would just take everything. Yeah, that was in the summer of last year. And then we would just throw everything back into buying inventory and everything like that, which we still do to this day. But we're starting to get to the point where, we're getting ahead of the game on our ordering, and we're able to pull out a little bit extra per month, which is nice.
Nice. It's really good. It reminds me of a lot of like one brand I've been following for a little while now is Sour Strips with Max Chewing. And that's what he like preached a lot while kind of building his business. It's just reinvesting everything, not taking a single penny. And I truly think if you can do that for a year, some people it's just hard because like I got to work a full-time job while running a full-time business because I can't take a profit yet. But even if you could just take like as small as profit as possible, just so that we can reinvest more in your business, you're going to grow so much faster than if you didn't. And I think that was probably one of my first mistakes when I was, growing my first business is that I went too, I started reaching into the pot a little too soon. So definitely congratulate you guys on having that. I think it takes more discipline in that sense versus anything because it's like, oh shit, look at all this money. Let me take a little bit. Let's go to, Nobu or something like that. No problem at all. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of discipline on that side that you guys kind of practice in that sense right there.
It was nice because it was kind of a snowball effect. I mean, we were doing it so long that it just kind of got normal. And then Black Friday hit. From Black Friday to December, we doubled. From December to January, we doubled again. I think January to February, we did like 50% more the next month.
We didn't grow a ton in February, I don't think, but it's because we had some inventory issues because of Chinese New Year and everything. But we just started getting firing again, and it's fun to look at.
Our last 90 days have been, I guess I can just throw numbers at it. So like in our first year, we're probably going to do like 1.4, 1.5 mil. And in our last 3 months, we've done like 900 and some thousand of that 1.5.
That is awesome.
Growth has just been amazing to watch. And it's honestly been pretty unbelievable to see.
That's incredible. Great work. Now, I wanted to ask you one thing too is did y'all see a big impact in performance when like 14.5 hit? Just because y'all selling like purely Apple Watch bands. I'm sure that was around the same time y'all start to grow and scale. Did that have any major hits on like kind of like maybe second thoughts or anything like that?
So luckily for me, I wasn't like super aware of exactly how Facebook ads were before 14.5 because I only had like a few small stores.
Yeah.
So it pretty much hit as I was trying to scale this one. And I was still learning Facebook ads in general, like still at that point where I'm like, do I want a CVO? Do I want an AVO? What's going on here? So then I'm trying to deal with that. We took the high roast route real early, um, which we don't use anymore. But I mean, it served its purpose for sure. But yeah, I mean, I did use retargeting on stores before that. I still can't do much with retargeting. I have not had much success.
We don't even set up retargeting campaigns anymore.
Yeah, I'm currently not running one either.
Yeah, we're spending like 10K a day on this one account, and it's like not a single retargeting campaign at all in there. And they're like, well, why not do retargeting? I show them their frequency over the last 7 days. Like, oh, okay, never mind. So that's epic. I'm curious. You said you're not using high risk anymore. What are you using now?
We're using Triple Whale. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah, that was literally my my to-do list this week was to get on Triple Whale. I want to test it out and see how it is.
Their app is awesome, how it breaks everything down. I mean, it basically just shows you all of the screens on one. It doesn't do much technically there, but it's just so nice.
Well, yeah, but it does UTMs.
Yeah.
They put a little code on your site to help track server side.
Cool.
We've been doing that since like January.
Did you notice, not to get like a debate of like Hyros over Triple Whale, but from a user aspect, was Triple Whale a little bit more easier to use than Hyros?
Yes. And it was a lot cheaper. And it gave me a lot more to look at. Like it has all of our all of our numbers are in there, not just ads, but then the ads are very simple to look at.
Yeah. Now, does it like this is the problem I don't like about Wicked Reports is that Wicked Reports does not show ad sets. So it goes campaign ads. So you might have 50 ads in a campaign, but they're all broken down to a few ad sets. Does Triple Whale break it down by ad sets, or is it just like show all the ads?
Yeah, it's just like Facebook Ads Manager where you click on the campaign, then it will show all the ad sets. Then you click on the ad set, and it'll show the ads in that ad set. I don't know if I set it up wrong, but for TikTok, I'm not able to see my ad level, which isn't phenomenal. But I've also just kind of been lazy and trying to figure out why that is. But for Facebook, I can see everything.
Cool. Well, I'm excited to dive into it. Yeah, that's something that we use a lot of Wicked Reports right now. Some ad accounts still don't even use anything, and we're still crushing it for them. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, we'll use like one campaign, one ad set broad, and just drop in new ads in there, and then boom. But yeah, we do have a few ad accounts where it's like crazy amount of sales, and Facebook's only like showing like 1/10 of that, and Facebook is the only driver of traffic for that store. So we're looking at options like Triple Whale. I know a lot of people have been talking about Triple Whale, and it's supposed to be really good. Cheaper as well. I can give you credit on that one because yes, it's a lot cheaper than some of these other platforms.
Yeah, for sure.
So what I know you said your vision is to get sold. You're trying to exit the business and everything. What is that? Or you're looking at for like a certain number? You want to grow to $10 million a year in sales and then look for someone to take over, or what's your vision on that?
Yeah, we've been saying $1 million a month, and then try to stabilize that. So yeah, around 10, 12 mil a year, and then try to sell. But in general, we're kind of just taking it day by day because everything changes so quickly. And we're involved in multiple brands now. We're kind of like building like an Ecom aggregator where we're building out a team underneath us and kind of just like we want to buy brands that we think look like we could fix them up and do way better with. So we actually just bought 60% of one like 2 weeks ago, and I'm just today was the first day I got to run ads on that. So we're venturing out a little bit. But for Solus, yeah, I actually just offloaded all create as an ad. So that's why I'm able to do it for these other ones. I don't know if we want to talk about that or not, but
yeah, let's dive into that a little bit.
Yeah. So I knew that I was kind of reaching my probably ceiling on creatives. And I just didn't really want to do it anymore. Like I just thought someone else could do it better and then I could use my time elsewhere. but I knew that creatives was the driving factor. So I talked to probably like 30 people. But I was originally planning on only outsourcing creatives and then keeping media buying myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually going to consider, that was why I scheduled a call with you. I was going to see if you want to do my media buying. But I eventually found a creative focus company called Vaxa, and they had a media buyer that they work with all the time. They gave us a discount since they just knew we'd be an easy client.
Yeah.
So we're still like onboarding them. And we won't get our first wave of creatives from them until next week. So I guess I can't toot their horns yet and say that they are going to crush it for us, but what the
yeah, like at least like the 90-day mark where you can really judge a performance for an agency.
90 days, but we saw like their intros videos that weren't like fully done yesterday, and they look really good. So we'll see.
Nice. That's awesome. Now I'm curious because there's probably a lot of other brand owners in that situation where they're like, okay, hey, should I let someone else run my ads, or, maybe should I keep doing it? I'm sure there's a lot of people having that kind of conflict in their head right now. And obviously you've gone through it too as well. You guys are already doing probably $500,000 a month, close to it, essentially right there. Whereas some people offloaded at $50K a month. So what took you so long to offload it, or why did you stay on it for so long? In that sense right there.
Because I personally wanted to know how to get it to that level myself, because one, I knew that I would be able to choose a partner to work with like better if I actually knew what it took to run them well. And two, I kind of just wanted to prove it to myself that I could.
I completely understand that one. I definitely think too, you were in a unique situation where you didn't have to worry about fulfillment, logistics, and all that stuff right there, even customer service. So you had that partner to where like, hey, I could focus purely on this right here. So then you basically, yeah. And then you hit your goal. You kind of hit it to where I was like, okay, cool. I proved it to myself. And you're like, all right, I need to find someone else to do it. When you start looking for an agency, how did you do that? Did you go like Facebook groups? Did you go like findanagency.com, YouTube, like Facebook ad agencies?
I Googled some stuff, and ultimately the company we chose was because I tweeted and I asked if anybody knew of any creative agencies, and someone tagged the dude that runs the company that we partnered with. I got on a call with him, and I was kind of just like, yeah, I think I like that.
Money Twitter is a powerful tool.
Twitter right now, I'm in a group right now that pay $100 a month to be a part of on Facebook, and Twitter right now, DTC Twitter is 10 times more valuable than that. So like, I feel like I could pay $1,000 a month and still get more info from Twitter, even if I have to pay that right there per month. So DTC Twitter is powerful. So so you pretty much had a relatively short sales cycle in sense of finding an agency. And again, just to be correct, they're doing the creative and the media buying, correct?
So there are two different agencies that are doing them, but this is another reason why I chose them, is they work with a ton of private equity firms that just hold Ecom brands, and that's why they're like, it's all outsourced because of that, because obviously the firms don't want to run it. So yeah, they just worked with the media buying agency a lot, and they knew that they worked pretty cohesively. So he just recommended that I talk to them, and then I talked to the media buying agency, and they gave me a discount for the fact that they knew it was going to be easy, and I just had to offload it all.
Awesome. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of people right now that are at that point right now where like they made a clear decision they want to hire an agency. What is maybe one or two things that you looked for when hiring an agency, just so that way, because there's a lot of people that get talked about. They're like, hey, I was on a call just before with some guy on this call. He's like, 3 agencies burned me, and then I finally found one that works really well. So what would you say is like one or two things you should look for if I'm in like the market right now to hire an agency? Should I be purely basing it off price? Should I be looking for reputable case studies? Like what's like the one or two things that kind of clicked for you? Like, hey, this would be a good fit for us.
So I was just looking at like so some of the agencies did creative and media buying, obviously, which was most of them. And when I'd get on a call and they were just trying to tell me how they were going to target customers better and all that, and didn't say anything about creative, I was kind of just like, I don't really want to work with them because I know that creative is what's going to drive it. So that was why I personally kind of was solely looking for a creative agency. It just happened that it worked out the offload media buying too. But I would definitely just say look for people that aren't telling you they're going to target like the best ever and set up all these like great strategies. They're just going to be saying like, hey, like we know how to make a good ad and we're going to just keep making them until we find something that sticks for you.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, that's literally what I tell people, sales prospects right there. Now, granted, on our side, we don't actually have a creative agency on our side. We work best with brands that can already do creative in-house in that sense right there. But that's like our biggest thing now. It's like, hey, we want to be able to pump out a lot of creatives quick. How effective is your creative team, and can they take directions too? Because we work with some people that are just like, they cannot take directions at all. We tell them exactly what ads to shoot. They do something completely different. Like why? And they're like, oh, we felt like this would be better. I'm like, no, we want to test though. So, but I love that. That's some great advice right there in that sense right there. And then obviously make sure they have good case studies too. Like that's the simplest thing right there. Like how they've done it in the past for other ecom brands. That's a big one. So cool. So we are running a little out of time here. Is there anything else you guys would like to shout out to the YouTube let's say audience? I don't really have like a nickname for them or anything like that. Some people out there special things, but any other advice or anything like that for up and coming ecom people? They're out there. They might be in the same situation, might be drop shipping right now, might be ready to place their first order for in-house fulfillment. Anything, words of inspiration, words of advice, or anything like that to give out?
I kind of have two things too, but first one and most important, watch Nick Theriot's YouTube videos. I used to watch your videos at lunchtime every day when it was lunchtime when I was eating my breakfast. And that's basically how I learned like the campaign structure we're running now and just a lot of stuff. Don't watch drop shipping YouTube.
A bad one.
Let's say one, if you don't believe in yourself, don't bet on yourself. Like we 100% believed from the start that we were going to make this successful one way or another. And we believed in ourselves and we made it happen, thankfully. But even if this business failed, we know we were going to start another one and make something else happen. And then another one would be if you're going to work with a partner, make sure it's somebody that you can scream at and then muster up the strength to a day later, an hour later, whatever, that you can say sorry, even if you're right or wrong, just because, I mean, that's how partners are. If you think that you're smarter than your partner, or if you think that your partner has like more authority than you and stuff like that, then it's just not going to work out. You both got to be even tempered, but obviously tempers come out, especially with dudes.
I have one more too. I think that one of the most valuable skills for an entrepreneur in general is to know how to manage stress. If you don't know how to manage stress, you're in for a rough one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one right there. Learn how to manage your stress, especially if you're taking big risk. You're going to overcome more stress and everything like that. So I know one thing that I recently found out, and I found this through Sterling Cooper. Fun fact, he's actually an ex-porn star, but he's in one of my inner circles, and he has a YouTube channel and stuff like that, and he basically creates a notepad and he puts all of his wins. He documents all of his wins, so all the way from as long as he can remember. So anytime he's feeling stress and stuff like that, he looks at that and he's like, okay, I'm in good hands. Universe got me, God's given, God has me, depends on, if you're into faith and everything like that. And that'll help your stress tremendously right there, especially when it comes to like difficult for, stuff like this. But yeah, really great advice, guys. It was definitely a pleasure having y'all on. Is there any specifically like websites, social media sites, anything like that you guys want to shout out? People can find y'all.
Catch us on we have a joint Twitter right now, but we're both starting like our own personal ones to get onto DTC Twitter. But KC Kids with a Z, or it used to be that. What is it now? KC Commerce.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm cool Henry _ on Instagram and Twitter. I didn't even put a profile picture on that Twitter yet, but I will now that I know it's coming out. But it's a KOHO, cool Henry _
Awesome. Chad.
Mine held 10. HELD 10. I might change the username for Twitter though. That's just my Instagram.
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely shout you guys out. I appreciate y'all hopping on board. It was absolute blast. Definitely a great story, guys. And yeah, thank y'all so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. Take care.